Yep, here we are.
Right. Where is it? There we go.
And I'll haunt your nightmares. Little did you know that I like fear. When you turn, I'll be right there. You should be afraid, you should be scared. Out of the darkness, out of the fear. Here comes the monster waiting in there. Heart rate is rising, some call it scared. You'll feel the chill start raising your hairs. It's too late, you're here now. I hope that you're prepared, cause there's no getting out. You can feel the energy, dark like a cloud. Electrified by panic, terror and doubt. Don't cross me, or you'll learn quick the hard way that I'm not one to mess with. I got a mind, and that mind's...
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. We got Paranormal in the house.
Yay. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
Yes,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
it's exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah. Hey, Crystal.
Hello.
Getting all the sharing done.
Yeah, I'm fixing to share out. Do y'all want to tell everybody where to find y'all at? Share out.
Sure.
Sure. Excuse me. We're on Facebook, Horn Paranormal Research. We also have our website, hornparanormal.com, which just has a little bit of a bio with us and our some of our equipment we make. And then we do have a YouTube, which we don't have much on there. Horn Paranormal Research 1134, I believe. If you just search on YouTube, it comes up. We have Instagram. We don't do much on there either. It's mostly Facebook that we're on, but Instagram is Horn Paranormal as well. So real easy to find us if you know our name.
All right.
Yay. So
yeah,
how
we're
did
kind of
y'all-
slacking when it comes to our.
We pretty much do
we're
the
kind
same
of slacking
thing.
when it comes to everything.
Hey, Maddie. Hey, Pete.
All right, gotta share it out. So how'd y'all get into the paranormal?
The question of ages. When Scott and I got married, he kind of got it dumped in his lap. I've always had my abilities and stuff, and so he was always this really straight-laced, thinking like
I still am.
like, no, I don't believe in any of this stuff. So I drug him to a few things, and then he's like, I don't think so. I'm going to debunk it. And next thing I know, he's coming to a few more, and he's like, you know what? I need some equipment. I wanted to still debunk it, and it just kind of evolved.
Yeah, the equipment side for me helps either validate or not validate things that happen, I guess, because I have zero abilities other than that.
He's intuitive.
The gut feeling, that's just in general.
Right.
She's been somehow kind of connected to it her whole life. Where me, it's never was on my radar till we met. And we lived in Buffalo, Wyoming, and I'll never forget it. The Dead Files did an episode on the Occidental Hotel in Buffalo.
Made him watch it.
And that was one of the first things she made me watch. I mean, it was cool, but it was something new to me. And so that was probably one of the first places. Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I miss those guys.
Yeah, so the Occidental, I mean, it's a pretty cool place. It's really active. I mean, it's been a lot of people have been through there. Yeah, documented with stuff. So for us to kind of do our first investigating there was really, really cool.
We didn't have a lot of equipment then. And so I had a lot of feelings and telling him, oh, I got this going on and that going on, and this is what I'm picking up. He's like, that don't do nothing for me. And so out the door, I think the first thing that we bought was the Ovulus. What was our first piece of equipment?
Probably one of the most significant pieces was the Oculus.
Yeah.
You know, we had like a little cheap full spectrum camera and
Yeah.
a recorder, and that was about it.
And then we just kept going from there. And now what got him into making the equipment was the seeing what was out there and then seeing how expensive everything was to get a hold of.
Right.
And so he's like, well, I'd like this. I think I can make it. And so that's how we got onto the SLSs and the XLSs. And then he wanted to improve on the SLSs because when we started, ours was big and bulky like everybody else's. And then he got it down to under 2 pounds because your arm would get tired carrying it around.
Oh, yeah.
So then once we got through the SLS, we realized there were some false positives. Like if there was like you'd see a coat rack, sometimes it would map it, and it's not supposed to do that. With the $1 million technology we have in the Connect systems, shouldn't have done that. But everybody in the paranormal fields realizes there was false positive. So Scott got busy and the XLS, but we can't get the weight down on that. It's going to be a heavy unit because of the insides of it. There's just to do around that, but it is pretty dang accurate. And it does 3D mapping, so it can like picture the room, and you can turn the room like this. It's so neat. It's got so much stuff on it that I don't know. I'm not tech savvy, so I don't even know all the little bells and whistles. But I know that when we map stuff, I'm pretty sure we are getting what we're seeing. I mean, it doesn't map. The other one wouldn't map cats and dogs or anything like that either. But if you see something, it won't. If you see something there, more than likely, and it's not moving or interacting, and you think it's a false positive, I have found just over investigating that sometimes spirits will do that to make you think it's inanimate, and you can pull them out of it and get them to interact, do something. Don't just assume you're mismapping like a lampshade. I've had spirits hide like that and then got them. And so trust your gut first, because that's how we investigate, is we go in and get a feel of everything and then set up our equipment, try to capture it. And sometimes it's like, oh, that's not a catch. I'm like, well, let's play with it for a minute and see. And sure enough, sometimes it's them hiding.
So if you go onto our Facebook page and go to the videos, there is a video in the Goldfield Cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably one of, if not the videos that really sold me on the SLS, you know, the technology. There was a cross.
That was such a cool experience.
A tombstone, there was a cross, and it was mapping a figure on the cross. And in my brain, and I think I even say it on the video, I said, that's just mapping that cross. So we started trying to talk to it, and we asked it to step down from the cross. And then within like 2 seconds after asking that, it's dropped down to the ground in front of the cross.
Oh,
and
wow.
We had probably a 30-minute session with that figure that we had, because we had another psychic with us. And we were asking, you know, are you curious what we're doing? And we actually had it crawl on the ground behind us to come behind the camera and see what we were doing. So, you know, that in of itself was really pretty wild, because
it stood a lot of times, you know, with spirit, it takes a lot of energy for them to interact, right? So they'll come in and whatever this was, and I kept, honest to God, Kimmy, I was seeing Native American energy in the background watching us. There was natives that were, I don't know if they were some kind of like keeper, you know, like a protector, but they were outside the graveyard. But whatever was there was so strong. We must have did this for 20 or 30 minutes, and it never disappeared. And we started having a conversation back and forth. We had asked it to come around and touch Marilyn, the other psychic, while we were mapping it. And she's standing there, and I used to test her all the time to see if she could feel the energy and things like that. And she's like, it's touching my elbow right now. And we're videoing it, and it comes up, touches her. She picks up on that. And then, so we do some more investigative stuff, since we have an interactive spirit there, something that energy that's actually interacting. And she's like getting vibes off of it now. So she starts communicating, saying, we are always forgotten. This is the side of the cemetery. People forget about us and things like that. It was really heart-wrenching. And then we asked, I said, the more we talked, we're like, you probably don't realize what we're doing, but this is cameras. We're taking pictures. Are you curious about it? If you are, come around and we'll let you look at yourself on the camera or see what we're filming. And sure enough, we were filming and we had the cameras out. It came around and got behind the night vision camera to see what we were looking through the lens.
Wow.
And then it was gone, but it did this whole thing that made us scratch our head. It was just unbelievable. And there is a free place that you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars to go to. You can just go out and do that cemetery and you're going to have interaction. And it's crazy because it's one of those places very spiritual that, like I said, there was Native Americans in the background watching us. And so I don't know exactly what we were interacting, but we thought it was whoever was there with that cross. But we could have been wrong. It's all a guess, but it was amazing.
I imagine. I got to go watch it now.
Right.
Yeah. I know the piece where he cuts around is not on there, but we do have that.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I think it just says
YouTube.
Goldfield Cemetery is the name of it, the file.
Yeah.
And I think it was from 2016
or something.
Somewhere back then. It's been a while, but yeah.
That's amazing.
And we did the Tonopah Cemetery back then and the Tonopah, the Clown Motel at that time before the Clown Motel got remodeled. And we had a lot of activity there, but we had more activity right in the cemetery itself than really inside the hotel. We had a few interactions in the hotel, but we caught the best shadow coming across a pitch black night on our camera, on our night vision that we've ever caught.
So we were with, let me see, there was 3 or 5. So there was like 7 people there total. And we were probably 100 yards back, me and Kim, from them. They were way off in the front of the cemetery or in the back, or however you want to look at it. We were just coming into it, walking in. I had just a regular GoPro on my harness on my chest, no night vision or anything. And I had a full spectrum camera running side by side with it. And
I was carrying something.
You had thermal or something, I think, maybe.
We were just talking, minding our own business, walking through, trying to be careful not to step on the graves.
Yeah, we were just walking through.
Being careful where we stepped.
And then after we reviewed the footage, there's like I don't know, it's kind of hard to, it's almost looked like one of the ghosts from the Pac-Man game. It kind of had that weird shape to it. But it comes from like our left and went across our right on the ground. You can see it in the full spectrum, but when I looked on the GoPro,
we didn't get
there was nothing there.
2 cameras running side by side.
So it was obviously out of our vision parameters. So
it's crazy. We've got some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, we don't react to it at all. We didn't even know we caught it till after the fact, but we saw it. It's like, what the heck is that?
Yeah,
it's just bizarre, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that sounds like it.
Right.
What did we miss? Let's go back.
I know. We've talked about that. We are going to go back. I know I have to go visit the Goldfield Cemetery again, just because I promised the spirits I'd come out there again.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a back section that's like
really old.
Probably the very first part.
Annie.
Hey, Annie. First part of the cemetery, and I can't remember, was it like late 1800s or something? It was.
Wow.
A lot of
and
young.
That's where we got the Be Forgotten.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
It is. It is. So Annie was just at the one in Virginia City with us. It was crazy. I was telling you that. I love you too, Annie. So she was with me in a part of our group on that when I was telling you backstage about what happened with the Knights of Pythias. She was there. She's one of them that saw it at the exact same time as I did, the black mass energy and stuff. It was just a crazy night. She can attest to it. It was wow. It was mind blowing. I think if anybody gets a chance to do that one, that should be one of them on their bucket list. I don't think it'll ever be not quiet there. I think it's one of those places you'll always catch activity, and it'll be like leave a scratch in your head kind of stuff.
Wow.
So yeah.
It's one of those places you can get addicted to real easy.
Yep, it is. And see, she knows. She saw it right when I did. It was crazy.
How is this? What? An octopus?
Octopus. Black mass energy with tendrils off of it. Tentacles. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I had a night camera going too. I was recording everything, but I haven't looked at the video yet. Yeah, to see if I happen to catch anything. But
I hope he did, because there was so much going on in that room. Oh my gosh.
I wonder what kind of
we were doing
spirit
all
that
kinds-
would have been.
I think it was elemental. I felt it was elemental. I
Okay.
felt that there was elemental and spirit energy, but there was also something else there. We were talking about this whole
Right.
alien stuff. One more element to that whole night. Just
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that building used? Nights of Pythias?
Yeah, Knights of Pythias. Knights of Pythias.
Knights
Yeah.
of Pythias.
Yeah.
It's like a Masonic.
And there's history behind there. There's a whole bunch of history behind what happened with the building itself. So there's even a backstory, but there's so much more that those guys did that we'll never ever probably know. Yeah.
Wow.
It was huge.
Wow.
And at least the most part of the ceiling, when we looked up, there was some chandeliers hanging down and their shadow cast off. And so you saw the shadow casting off of the chandelier from the lights, that we had a light experiment going on around us. But next to it on the left, the long table that they used, we were all sitting around, and the black mass above it, it overcast half the table probably. It was that big.
Wow. I'm not very spooky, but I think that would have scared me a little bit.
It was a little bit. I think I would have been more afraid if I had already seen those bruises I got on my leg, but I didn't see those until the next day. So then it's like, well, it got me. You know?
Yeah.
I always try to think of it as like a feral cat or something will attack you. You know, how do you know it's not it's bad? It could have just been doing what it does. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Group of people sitting in a room trying to communicate all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you expect? I guess.
Yeah. I try to keep an open mind on it and not just automatically go, oh no, you know.
Right. Well, a lot of times you'll get scratched just because not because it's anything evil. It's that their way of telling you, "Hey, I'm here."
We were in their
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Pay
Yeah,
attention to me.
Right.
Exactly.
Some will touch a REM pod. One will scratch you.
Sometimes
Right. That's right.
a way of giving validation and confirmation that you're really seeing what you're seeing. Because
Right.
I know that I put it on Facebook and I'm like, wow. And I didn't tell anybody what we saw about it being octopus imagery because it was like out there. And I was like, I didn't want people going, okay, Kim. But like Meadows, she's a psychic that comes on and you know she gives her input on several shows and I really have a lot of respect for her. She's like, that looks almost to me like suction cups. And I'm like, oh, now let me tell you the rest of the story. It just gave me validation. That's what we were seeing. She wasn't.
That's
there.
right.
Idea, and so that's what gets me excited about why we do this. Yeah, it was
Right.
and it was weird because on my leg, it was like on my ankle, it went like 1 and 2 together, and then I started getting pain again, 1 and 2, like something whipped me. You know what I mean? It felt like
Oh wow.
it was interesting, but it felt burning, so I thought I had a burn. It was a bruise. It was bruises, little round bruises.
How long did it stay on your leg?
It's almost gone. It was there the next day, and it was funny because it started to appear like almost like an old bruise would look like after a week, and then it was gone. But it happened that night. And I had Danny on one side and I had Mike on the other side, and I commented to them, I'm like, I just got something, and then I blew it off because mentally I don't want to give anything any kind of that fear or energy in an investigation.
Right.
So I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. But I wanted to note it in case it did turn, and it turned into something. So
Right, especially when you sit there and say, I'm seeing an octopus shaped figure, and then you go to get suction cups on your leg.
yeah. Yeah. I know a lot
That's
of people
crazy.
that, yeah. It's crazy because a lot of people who investigate, they, you always look for the stuff first that the rational reasons. There's nothing in this room. We're sitting at a table. Nothing to I didn't get trapped up in any, wires or coiled up in anything. Nothing. There was no reason for it. So I don't know. I can't explain it. It's crazy.
Do both of y'all like funk, or is it just one of y'all that has more of that kind of edge of wanting to do funk? Or
it was really interesting because we had some new investigators. Mike's fairly new, but he's really super intuitive. He's got the Two Clueless Dudes podcast out in Las Vegas. So he was one of the sponsors, and he was there, and he saw what we saw. And then, of course, Annie, she was seeing everything, and she's been doing this for a while, investigating all over. And so even for the experienced investigators who were there, it was like, whoa. I mean, Shane was like, did you see that? He saw a full body apparition walk by. And like I said, we were all having experiences that night. It was crazy.
Wow. It's very validation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we weren't sure what it was exactly. So why, give it any power?
That's right.
Is a matter of fact. Yeah. Yep, he is. So
I don't know. You better than me. I'm afraid I couldn't be that calm. If I saw something like that, I'm going, look.
I was like that in the beginning. I have to tell you, but we've been investigating long enough, and things have happened long enough that I still jump and I still get scared.
Right.
It's fleeting. It doesn't.
Right.
As quick as it comes on, it's gone.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that was cool.
Yeah.
Right. Or did I actually see that?
Did you see it too, Scott, or were you like, what are y'all looking at?
No, I didn't. I guess I didn't participate in the experiment.
He was behind the camera.
Yeah, I like to document everything. I got the cameras going because you never know if everybody else is so involved in this that something might be happening over here or whatever.
Right.
But so I had the night vision camera going. I had it down a few different areas. And I do remember when Mike thought the chandelier was making the shadow, because I looked up and I pointed my camera up there. Well, there was a chandelier over to the left and this chandelier over to the right, but where Mike was sitting, there was nothing above him. So for him to look up, thinking that it's right there, thinking it was the chandelier, that gives a little more validation to what everybody was saying.
Right.
And like I said, I haven't looked at the video yet, the evidence.
I always think it's weird because I call it camouflage. A lot of the times when I see black masses and stuff doing like that, they'll try to hide behind something like that. And you have to really watch it and study it. And trust your intuition and your gut. If you have those abilities, if you think that is, you need, like I said, with the SLX, test it. It moved. And we were all watching it. We all saw it move. And we saw, once we identified it, then it showed itself more because it knew it wasn't hiding anymore.
Right.
So it's it's interesting to me because I don't know why it was there. I can't tell you exactly. All I know is what kept coming to me and to other people in there was dimensional, otherworldly, that kind of stuff. It was interesting. So I put it in the category as elemental because when I feel spirit, I feel it like most people, the tingling and the down and things like that. But elemental energy has a different feel for me. And then I get certain different sensations on different areas of my body. And so that's what I've been trying to learn how to hone in it, to break it down. And one of the good things about the XLS and SLS is when you see a stick figure and you're working with it, we've done experiments where, like, based on what feelings I get, those doggone elementals will stretch clear across the room on you on an SLS picture. They'll do some weird distortions that a regular spirit energy won't do. And so that helps validate me too, to help me tune in on what's elemental energy or other than spirit. Let's put it that way. So
that's interesting.
I think using equipment, there's a place for it. I don't know if it gives total validation, but with somebody like us that has your gifts, it does. It's helping me learn and categorize and finding my symbols and helping me understand how it appears to me individually. And I note it when you do your journaling after a dream. It's the same concept. It's a little more. It's more tools in our toolbox, I think. And so that's where I like it in the investigation. You know, nobody gets
Because it
anything.
gives you that validation of what you're feeling.
Right?
Right.
Exactly. I prefer to investigate anyway. I mean, I like the experiences of having the psychic side to it, but sometimes that's not fun for the people who are investigating because they're not the one having those experiences and they're just going off what you're telling them.
Right.
So they're not able to
Right.
really see. So when you got an equipment and you're like, go over there with that and you catch something, then you got their attention again. And then they're looking at you like, well, what else do you see? So it kind of,
That's right.
yeah, it helps a lot.
Yeah, and it depends on what you're really after
Yeah.
in the
Yes,
field.
it is.
For me, I'm probably it's swayed a little bit. I'm probably more like 75% actual documented data versus 25% personal experience.
Right.
But as more I do this, it's kind of changing. I really like the personal experiences, but I also like to catch stuff to kind of validate things that happen that maybe I can't explain, things like that.
And I
Right.
have this attitude that the same attitude is that just because I can tap into things that other people can't, I think everybody could potentially be able to do that. I think it's all in us. I do to some degree. So I feel like science is going to catch up sooner or later. What God has already given us as abilities. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Someday we're going to figure it out. Just like Columbus saying the world is not flat. Someday they're going to say, you know what? These ladies, these guys who can see this and do this, they're not crazy. Here's the validation for it. You know,
That's right.
here's the evidence. We just didn't understand it at the time that it was this energy and that energy, and you know, who knows? I
agree.
I just hope that people, don't quit going, oh, it's hooey based on religious beliefs or whatever, that they come at it with an open mind.
Yeah, it definitely
That's right.
depends on how open you are.
Yeah.
How open you are, because I'm not an open person when it comes to that kind of stuff. So it's like,
do you find yourself opening up a little more since you've been with Kim?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a long way to go, but I've opened up a lot more. So
Right.
and I think that's helped, fuel a little bit more of the pure personal experiences that I've had.
Right.
Because otherwise I
What
would have
finally opened your eyes and said, "Oh my gosh, there's something to this"? What is that one thing that helped you open your eyes?
There's a couple.
it's kind of been a gradual thing, but I think for me, as far as the psychic side of it, we were down in we got some friends of ours down in Louisiana, down in New Orleans.
Marie Laveau's house.
Yep. They had an opportunity to investigate Marie Laveau's house. Now,
Ooh.
it's not the original house. It was her daughter's house, because they had burnt down and they rebuilt another place on top of it.
They actually, hey, Henry, they actually took it down and destroyed the house because people were seeing her spirit walking up and down the road, and they thought,
yeah, it was kind of type thing.
Yeah. So no.
So there was it was like a duplex or a townhome. There's apartment on one side, apartment on the other, and we got access to both sides. So the one side was pretty, normal, quiet.
Your typical haunts.
Yeah, you get some footsteps. There's a few things going on, but the other side there was supposedly some really dark stuff. There was like a mantle, like an altar type thing on a fireplace mantle. So I guess the thing, they brought in 5 different psychics of different backgrounds. There was like the voodoo priest, and there was
different religious
1 or 2
backgrounds.
people did remote psychic sweeps. She did her psychic sweep, and none of them knew this place. And there was 5 almost exact.
All our hits matched.
Yeah, they were almost identical to everything they hit on.
Wow.
So to me, 1, 2, maybe 3 might be a coincidence. We had to do it
that way because
5.
we were gathering information for the Catholic Church. The people who had us come in, they were having a hard time getting it rented, and the new owners wanted to make sure that we cleared out all the icky. And what ended up happening was the stuff that Marie Laveau had placed there was there, and it was super awesome. And by bringing in the different religious backgrounds, the voodoo priest, Papa Czar, he's down at Voodoo Authentica down in the French Quarter. We had, some witches come in, and they all explained different aspects to what Marie Laveau did and the history behind it. And we were picking up on elemental energy, all kinds of stuff, which we left alone, right? Because we're just investigators anyway. But we were able, over a 5-day span, explain it. But what turned out is somebody since then had moved into that house like in the 50s and did some satanic worship upstairs and had put some crap on the house. And so the church came in to remove that. But they did. We had enough evidence. They came in and did a blessing. They did all their stuff on the house to get rid of that portion of it.
Right.
Hey, Donna.
Wow.
How are you, Donna?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was pretty cool.
It was a learning experience for me because I hadn't. It seems like every time I get to a certain point and I get stagnant, the energy comes. I get introduced to somebody who has a great knowledge base, and I get to learn from them. And I got to see and understand how different energies kind of interact with each other and how they can work together, and how one person's belief system here applies here versus here. And it was pretty interesting for me. And let me tell you that nasty energy upstairs, I walked by the staircase where what I called the gatekeeper was there. The only time our spirit box would go off was with a woman would walk by, and they would use every foul language. His name was David, and he used every foul language at us, telling us sexual stuff and calling us dirty names, how he was going to kill us. I mean, it was downright dirty, evil crap. And I kept trying to keep him away from me. And sure enough, I let my guard down one time, and I got pushed into the stairs and ended up with a gash on my arm. And that came from this negative, satanic type energy. Everything else flowed in the house. And it was interesting because through the spirit boxes, we had laser grids. I mean, we had this place hilted up with all kinds of equipment. And what we gathered that took 3 days was other energy wanted that energy out of there. It did not belong in space.
Right.
And so it was a trip. It's the closest thing I've been to scared, because when I walked in on that side, not really being around the satanic stuff, because I was always like, nope, this is where I draw my line, this stuff.
Right.
I went to that side of that room, and you could hear a pin drop. Nothing was going on, but you could feel this eerie stillness in there, like, oh, this is too calm.
Yeah, like the calm before the storm.
It had that feeling when you walked into that side of the building. So you're looking around like, okay, wait, I don't see anything. I'm not feeling anything, but this is way too quiet. And then it took 3 days, and it showed up. It showed itself. Everything else appeared like it should. Started coming out, but it did not want to be found. It took over 3 days, and when it came out pissed. I mean, we had cameras smashed and broken. We had things that were rolled and flown across the room that we didn't catch because it drained our batteries, and then it happened, so we'd only get the audio of it, and we'd come back to broken cameras that we left there overnight. I mean, and nobody was in there. It was crazy.
It was a Marie Laveau house.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny, what it was it went under new ownership. Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
So did they get rid of the bad stuff?
They did, and they rented it, and it's fine. I mean, everybody down in the French Quarters used to the voodoo. They're used to all the cultural differences down there, and so that doesn't seem to bother them. But when you're having a house that is causing oppression and things like that to some degree, and you can't keep it rented because people just are not comfortable there. There was enough. We finally were able to peel back that onion and find out, well, this is why. And honest to God, since they had the Catholic Church come down in there, they have had no problems with the house.
Good.
So
that's
it's trip. That was, it was wild to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that French Quarter, it's a little different than the Midwest.
Yeah, we have to cleanse our house periodically. I don't know.
She claims it's always meat and attachment, but I don't know about that.
It is. I had to clear it twice.
So we had my most profound one. We had a couple that, I guess probably only couple that we really know about. We were on our way out to Sumter, Oregon for an event at the Sumter Inn, and we stopped in Bannock, Montana at the
It's
state
cool.
park.
It is. It's. Have you guys ever heard of it? It's what it is. Bannock, Montana is the land. It's an old ghost town that they've left. So
Yeah,
I
they
think
just up and
Ghost
left, and
Adventures had done
they did.
a thing there too, but it's got the wood, the wooden streets, and then the wooden planks, and the whole buildings are there. That place.
Yep. So if you watch the episodes on Ghost Adventures, there's the hotel, and there's a guy on there that he got pushed down those stairs, and he was pretty sure the way he got pushed that it was going to try to kill him. But anyway, that was the first building we went into.
It was in the middle of the day.
Yep, middle of the day. The place is open. There's people walking around.
We're like, we're not going to get anything. It's going to have so much
Right,
contamination.
right.
What can happen in the middle of the day?
Anyway.
A lot.
We didn't even.
Yep.
We were just touring, walking through with a camera and stuff, and trying a few
Just
things.
enjoying it. Oh, we lost her.
Debbie.
Her
So
mom
we went
died.
into that hotel.
Moms and dads.
We went into the hotel, and I immediately started getting like a chest pain, like
Right at the stairs.
yeah, it was weird. I took
And our
about
REM pod was
3
going
steps
off.
in, so it as fast as it came on, it left. Yeah, and our REM pod had went
I
off a few
kept
times.
telling Scott something was following us, so I was trying to catch it. And so we were putting the REM pod, and sure enough, it was keeping its distance. I turned around and I said, something's still here with us because I'm feeling it. I know it is, but it's not getting close for me to read the energy or anything. And so we were putting the REM pods down, and it was playing a game with REM pods. It was like screwing with us. I'm like, okay, well, something's here. And we just left it alone because we thought that's cool. At least we acknowledged that the REM pods are going off in the middle of the day. And so we picked them up, left. Scott had his little issue with his heart chest thing. He gets outside, he's fine. He gets away from the building, he's fine. We go and do the rest of the buildings. We go through all the buildings, and we're just, this is pretty quiet. We get over to the saloon, and we get responses, like direct responses to the REM pods, just ask questions. So we're like, that's cool.
Wow.
Take some pictures, do a little video of it, and that was it. We went back to our room. And so we're just sitting there in a room, and it gets time to go to bed. And you know how in the hotel rooms they have the little refrigerators that make a bunch of noise all the time, like clicks and different things. So I was hearing clicking, click, 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 and I hadn't fallen asleep yet. So I'm thinking the clicking might be the refrigerator. And so I'm kind of listening. But then I hear somebody walking in a room, and I'm thinking, great, because psychically I hear that stuff. I don't think it's anything more than a psychic thing that I'm picking up in the room. So I'm thinking, okay, somebody's in here walking. I make a mental note like, time to go to bed, leave us alone, ignoring you kind of thing.
Right.
Sometimes I'll talk and hey, leave me be, so I can get some sleep. And I just kind of went away. Pretty soon I hear on the computer, I have my computer sitting shut over there. You hear tap, tap, tap. I'm like, crap. Scott's
No, I'm not going to leave you alone.
Yeah, he's totally asleep. And then he's again, and then you hear footsteps again. I'm like, oh. And so I'm like, I'm ignoring you. I'm going to sleep. I'm not playing this game, thinking we're fine. I hear the steps go by. I'm wide awake with my eyes closed going, shit, this isn't going away, but Scott's sleeping. I need him to sleep. So I hear him go around the side of his bed. He hears him go around the side of his bed. I don't think he knows that he's hearing him. But all of a sudden, Scott jerks up and screams in bed.
So I heard the tap, triple tap, and then the footsteps, like somebody pacing along the end of the bed because it was a double queen room. I heard that like 2 times, and I was kind of like her, like, okay, what's going on? I definitely heard the footsteps, and I definitely knew it was in our room.
On carpet.
Yep. So you could, it was that close. And then the 3rd time I heard it, I was like that I kind of sat up because I heard it. It was so clear that I thought somebody was in the room. And something got right in my face and just went, ha! Like that.
Oh, wow.
And I'm half asleep.
Oh, wow.
For me to think, I mean, if you know me, I'm not that easy to believe that kind of stuff, but that was so real that something was in my face, and I heard the footsteps, and then we were like, we need to take care of this before we leave tomorrow.
So when
Right.
I usually don't tell him. I usually don't tell him when I see your thing because of that reason, right? Well, sure enough, that's how I could tell that it was going for him, and it was a, you know.
So
it's
he
not
was
just a
hearing
random
what you
spirit.
thought only you were hearing.
Yep. He was actually.
Yeah, I physically was hearing it.
He was hearing it, and so
Wow.
we went outside in the parking lot, and I didn't care how stupid we looked. I got out my sage and all my mojo juice, and did my clearing of him outside the car, and then we got in the car, you know, checked out and left. So
She had a
sent it back
crocheted
home.
Chucky doll with a REM pod, and she's like, I do not want getting into my REM pod, my Chucky doll. I don't want him to get haunted.
So he was locked up in the car, and I don't know how that works. And maybe still, I don't know. Maybe that's still a possibility, but all I know is that when we did our blessings and told him he had to go back, I did get the image. It was Charlie, the man from Bannock, and he was gone. No more.
I think
to
it
than
was.
that.
I think he was the sheriff.
Yeah, I think he was a crooked sheriff,
and I think
and he's grouchy.
I'm
He's a
thinking
grouchy
with
guy.
this is just my theory on it is because we were in the either at the steps
I think it was.
and they weren't done. They wanted to actually talk to us because we were actively looking to speak with something. Or it was at the saloon where we ended, where we were getting so much
back and forth
responses that we just ended up putting.
I was making jokes, and I don't know if that kind of made it bad because a full 2-3 school bus full of kids came for a tour, and I'm like, oh boy, go mess with the kids. You know, I was chuckling, making jokes like this should be fun. And they're like, oh, you know, you're not going to dance for us, and you guys are going to have a bunch of rowdy kids bugging you now. If you thought we were bugging you, maybe I made him mad because I was being.
Yeah, maybe he didn't want to be there with all the kids. He just decided to follow us.
I'll show you.
Let's just jack this thing up.
Johnny, what?
Yeah, I think it was just one.
It's funny because it seems like always like a cowboy entity. We were at the Fairmont here in Deadwood, and we'd investigated a few times there, and Scott got a dang attachment on him there. And the reason we figured out that attachment is because we started hearing voices in our house. And number one, when we test our equipment, I know that we have those two spirits down there. They show up. We've made a deal that as long as they don't draw on our energy, they belong here. You know what I mean? They were here before we were, so we're going to try to chase them out as long as we can respect each other's space. Everything's fine. Energy, when you have something follow you, in the same room. So when you have an energy come into your space and it doesn't feel right, the energy in your house does change. You will feel it. And it makes some people who aren't paying attention, you might realize you're being a little catty, you're snapping with your husband, something you don't normally do. It'll start off like that. But when I walk in my house, I try to keep it so light and cleansed and happy and loving that when something's off, I usually can pick up on it. So I know my spirits are downstairs. I know stuff's on there. We start hearing something like whispering downstairs, like.
Oh, I heard a little girl laugh that time too,
and
downstairs, and there's no kids. This was during the day during school.
This was right in February, and he leaned in to give me a kiss because I'm going to go take a shower. And when he kissed me, my husband doesn't smoke. He smelled full on like he'd been packed a whole pack of cigarettes. And his kiss did not feel like my husband kissed me. I felt like I gave somebody a peck. And I was like,
oh, no.
Ew. Like, who are you? And so I thought to myself, guess what? I got to cleanse my house. I didn't think it was that much of an attachment, but it was once he kissed me and I tasted and smelled the cigarettes on him. And what was weird about that one is he was actually hearing little girl laughing in the hallway, and I did too. So it was taking on different personalities. So then we went back to and Kim Mag was there. She was the one that asked where this was going to be on tonight. She was actually the one who does the tours there and has all the history background. And she had her, I don't know if it was the necromancy app that you can get on your phone, but we had a couple of different apps running and the SLS, and we asked it and it told us its name, and we said, did you follow me home the other night? And it said, yes, ma'am. And then it went on and I said, you're not allowed to. And I said, and you're definitely not allowed to kiss me. And he goes, just once, and I liked it. And I'm like, whoa,
oh my
that's
gosh.
what? So I'm like, you have to stay here. But it was coming through as a cowboy voice. So then we had the manager from the Bullock there watching what we were doing because we were going to do this event in Deadwood. So they were wanting to see how we investigated. And I had the SLS and we're sweeping it. It was right after we got done talking. We get this stick figure shows up and it bends over and starts smacking its own butt. I'm not joking.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to be funny. I don't know. But it never, after that point, we didn't have any more interactions. Once we identified that something was here that wasn't, we saged the house, we did our blessings and told it had to go. And you don't show fear. You just kick them out. You just say no.
That's right.
Just like you would been here, and they go.
That's right.
I've never had to worry about anything that I couldn't get rid of. Not saying that could happen, but I really don't believe. I think the intent has to be there. So
exactly.
You just have to be firm and say you got to go. I mean,
he was okay until he kissed you, huh?
First thing he did wrong.
It's funny because what Fairmont was a brothel.
Yeah, that whole side of the street.
He was going to give you some, and he was not going to get some.
Yeah, that whole side of the street,
no.
the upper level was all brothels back in the day.
Yeah. Johnny, to me, it's easy. If your mind is set right, okay, that you know that you have the power in yourself, which we all do. I really don't feel like spirit has dominion over us because this is our playground, not theirs. So that gives us the power to say you have to leave, and they have to. But what happens is why sometimes spirit doesn't leave right away is because people are afraid and they don't think they're doing it right, or they don't understand, or they don't realize that they have that power to say go.
You gotta honestly
you have to totally believe in it. And when you do that, it really does. I mean, seriously, we've had things come here and go here, and we sleep fine at night. I've had people come in. I've had spirits or stuff come in, visit me, and check me out and leave. And that kind of is creepy, but that's not an attachment. It's just that when you have abilities and you see that in the middle of the night and you see something in your room, that's scary to me. That's what makes me up. But I trust in myself and my guides and my higher power belief system that I've got a big brother watching out for me who will take the garbage out if it gets ugly. And I truly believe in that, and nothing. I mean, yes, I've been scratched. Yes, I've had bruises, but they can't take my soul. They can't seriously hurt me.
Excuse me.
Touch me and do things. But that's as far as they can go, in my opinion. That's just my personal belief, though. And I've been doing this when you're born with abilities and you see it as a little kid, if something was that ugly and bad, I'd probably have been dead by now or something. And that's never happened. So I believe that we have protectors that we can't see, that kind of keep things in check. So
did you have to learn everything on your own, or did you have somebody that you could go to and talk to and that kind of like guided you through your gifts?
When I was a little girl, I remember I was 5 the first time, and I told my folks about it. And just like any little kid with a big imagination, they tried to blow it off like it'll be okay, blah, blah, blah. I had all these experiences, and supposedly I just had a big imagination. And then when I got 16, I was a very insecure, shy girl, believe it or not. I had a gift to gab, I guess, with family, but not with people. I'd always get really shy. But when I was 16, I tried to commit suicide. I'm a 2-time suicide survivor. And when I was 16, I had an out-of-body experience. The doctors put me in a coma for a week because I had OD'd on a bunch of migraine medication. That's how I tried to do it. And so it was too late when they found me to pump my stomach. And so they put me in a coma for a week. I was supposed to come out with kidney problems, be on a dialysis type thing, and have all these long-lasting effects. Well, I woke up. I saw my body in the bed. I saw my dad leaning into a pastor, and they were praying over me, and my dad was crying. The weirdest thing about it is I wasn't upset. I was in observing mode. I could see what was going on. I was just no emotion, nothing. I was supposed to watch. Next thing, it's somebody snapped their fingers. Next thing I know, a week later, I woke up and my mom was stroking my hair and her face was just pale as pale. And she's like, "Don't you ever do that to me again." And did I wake up? And I told her what I saw. She's like, "There's no way I could see my machines." and know that my dad was there and tell her about what happened. So they believed me. They knew the situation, and I shared it with them. Well, somehow from that moment, instead of making my life better at 16, since a cute girl, my doors, I got flooded. I'd be driving home and because I worked at J.C. Penney's, and I lived 30 miles out of town, and there was this one part of the road I knew somebody crashed. Well, I found out they did drag racing on the road, and I'd always have this guy with brown hair sit in the back of my car, and I'd just hold the steering wheel because I knew he was back there, and I was so scared to look in the back of my car.
Wow.
So I'd have all these experiences, and they'd be right. And when I'd get really upset, things would really pile on, and I ended up being one of those kids that would get so upset the TV would come on and off. Those kind of things would happen to me. So I went through this, kept it quiet because I had nobody to turn to, couldn't talk to anybody about it. I fell into, so when I was 18, I joined the Army. I basically ran away from what I'd known and tried to reestablish my personality as, and find out, get some of my confidence back, which it worked tremendously. But I still had these abilities and stuff that I kept quiet. The only person that I opened up to, and sometimes would tell my mom and my dad, and I'd tell my brothers, because I had 2 brothers who would believe me. And one of my brothers also had gifts that he could smoke a cigarette, walk down the road, and he'd have the cat, the dog, the horse, wild animals come and look like the Pied Piper behind him. I don't know what that was, but he had that. It was a trip. And so I would always have dreams. Dreams were the way Spirit was trying to get my attention to help me learn my symbols, and I didn't know it at the time. So they were constantly showing me stuff, and I got some journaling out of it from being in counseling because I got put in a psych place for 23 days lockdown.
Bless your heart. You were just so overwhelmed.
Yeah. So I went through all of that. And so because I had to go through all that, I kept it really quiet. And I always felt lost through my life, like a part of me was missing. So when I met Scott over years and getting older, I decided, you know what, failed marriages, because I've had the secret. Like, it's almost like you're having an affair or something you can't talk about, right? I'm sure people can relate to this. Part of you're not being able to be real to yourself. So I come out and told him, I said, this is who I am. Even you don't have to believe me. It could be like religion or politics. But if you love me, you're going to accept all of me, and I'm going to be me. Is this good? And that's how our marriage started. He got into the paranormal with me to try to understand who I was. And because he did that, I was no longer having that feeling of feeling lost, and the depression went away. Does that make sense? It totally disappeared. I don't have that need of being lost. It was a lost feeling. From when I was 20 on, before I'd met him, I did everything in private. The pendulum, that I was always attracted to Native American energy. I was told through my life by psychics that my spirit guide, his name was Joseph. He was a medicine man of some sorts, like a shaman, and that who had been guiding me is always there. So the first one I established a relationship was with Joseph when I was teaching. So I didn't have a mentor until we went out to Las Vegas, and I'd already heard from like 12 different mediums, like, you have gifts and you need to do this. I'm like, but nobody's to teach me. How do I do this? I don't know what I'm doing. I'd been dabbling with tarot cards since I was 20, and just causing myself to have some wrecks, frames, because I didn't know how to close and open, and those open, terrifying, because I was dabbling with no direction. So when Scott and I went out to Vegas, we went out to Good Springs. Mary Lynn was out there. She was part of the tour group that was doing one of the tours, and she announced that's what she did professionally. And we started communicating back and forth, and over time, our friendship developed in such a way that she became my mentor on telling me, you need to try this, you need to ground, you're not grounding. That's the very first thing I learned how to do. And then I just started evolving. And with the paranormal investigating, with having her there, I've now evolved to where when I go to paracons, when I go and meet other psychics and stuff, I take a little bit from everybody to find out who I am, you know, because all of us have something to give each other. We're all on the same path. So that's been my journey. And just having Scott by my side, that he enjoys it, has given me validation. I don't want to be a professional medium. I never wanted that. I don't want to go read cards for other people. I feel uncomfortable reading for somebody. But there are times where I will tell people what I see if they ask me, because it's right there and they're going, hey. Other than that, that's not what I got out of it. It was finding myself and understanding why, trying to learn what this is about, just like everybody else. It's something that something new every day. So, and I'm like a sponge. When somebody says something, I used to like, oh, whatever, just like everybody else, until you go through that experience and you're like, oh, you can't say that, because then I'm treating them like I was treated way back when I was 16, and that's not right.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been fun. I can now, with grounding, Johnny, with grounding, it's not turning them off, but I can mute them. So like when I go to sleep and stuff, I can actually go to sleep. I can, you know, because my mind's not so busy. I'm not having, unless there's such a prolific dream or something and there's a message for them to have me here, I can pretty much turn it down.
Right.
Being comfortable with it now, I cut a lot of it off now, that being comfortable. It takes me a minute. I have to really tune in to really grasp stuff that's happening. Like when we go in to investigate, I need to take a minute just to sit and listen to the buildings and stuff. So that it's almost the way I look at it. It's almost to let the spirits come, like a dog sniffs another dog, let them come to me and check me out first. You know, I'm just being silent in the moment.
Right.
And then if they come through, or anything through, it's because our energy, it's some kind of melding of the two. And if it don't happen, I'm okay with that too. I don't force it. So it comes and goes, and sometimes when it goes, it's because I'm tired and your body needs to re-energize. So
that's right.
But yeah, thank you. I'm seeing Facebook user, whoever Facebook user is, thank you.
I've seen that a lot.
It's a lot. It's horrible. You're like, I don't know who this is, but
right.
I saw I worded that wrong, so the mass and converted it and demanded it to leave. About an hour later, I was violently shoved bad.
Yeah, they can do that. They can. Oh, thank you. I think some spirit energy, because we're not sure what it is. It could be spirit, it could be elemental, it could be something else. We don't know, right? We just can't see it with our naked eye. So it could be anything that you're telling to leave. It could be a bully, you know, I don't know. So it's one of those things, tell it to leave. I never go out there and pick on stuff, you know what I mean? I never attack. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Provoke. I'm not a provoker.
Right.
But I don't have power over me in space. Like, you cannot shove me. You can't do that. I mean, you do have that strength.
There is that low percentage of things like that.
Yeah.
You know,
and if that's the case,
happens for sure.
Just like us getting the Catholic Church involved at Marie Laveau's, or the people who brought us in, there are people out there who's done this for years that specialize, you know, in those areas.
Right.
And I personally would turn to them if I got into a situation. But like I said, I'm 53 now, and we've been investigating hard and heavy since we got together over 10 years ago. 10 years. And it's very rare that we run into a situation like that. Not saying that they don't happen. It's just that we've been graced that we don't have a lot of that happen.
It definitely gets too much, for sure.
Yeah.
If you see something bad, would you tell a person?
I would not want to scare them. I would probably do a line of questions asking them if they feel anything, what's the history of the house, what's going on, because it's interesting. Without having background info, it's almost like you need that, because what if this person has got some trauma related to something and they're creating their own ickiness around them? Different energies, you can create your own energy. And so you almost need to do your homework without just saying, oh, I saw this, because what you're seeing might be what you're perceiving, but it might be some sadness that person went through that they created. And there might be a way to give them love, and it will go away on its own. So you really have to be careful when you're talking to people of what you're seeing and describing, because each person who can see this stuff has their own symbols for it. And it's all based on how much where they are on the tree of learning, kind of. So if I'm seeing something as a negative shadow, somebody here who's been doing this stuff that's elevated for 20 more years than me might see that black shadow as a grandparent who had some anger issues or something like that. And all it's trying to do is say, hey, I'm trying to tell her I'm sorry for what I did. But all she's seeing it is the anger of grandma. So you have to, it's why I do it in a way, is because it's layers of an onion, and you just have to be real careful when you do that. I would never tell somebody they have something bad in their house. I don't think I would. I would just tell them if I felt something really icky, because I've actually been on an investigation at the Palmer house, and we were all investigating, and something black came at me, and we all started getting sick to our stomachs. And in a situation where you are feeling physically sick, I have pushed it back, and it has gone back.
Right.
So there's situations like that. But if I just see something like a bad person, you might only be seeing you might be being shown an aspect of somebody's personality when they were alive. That may not be all that person was, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Makes perfect sense. I never looked at it that way before.
It was a shadow person, and neither am I. I am not a provoker at all.
Provoker.
My limit at night. Ooh.
it seems like when you're most tired, that seems, and when you can't, is usually when it'll affect you the most.
Yeah, it sounds like it just kind of wore you down.
Yeah.
That's right.
And what you can do, Johnny, in a situation like that, I like to do when I'm so tired and I can't get ahead of it, because we've been on some investigations.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
When we did the Deadwood event we did, there was so much going on in that full moon that I was so tired, and the spirits were actually affecting me at that point. We were in brothels, the prostitutions that had miscarriages or abortions, I was getting their energy on me. I was feeling their stomach pain. And I realized at that point I was too tired to be doing it anymore. So I had to back off, and I would take a salt bath. I use shower gel that you can get at Walmart that has Epsom salts in it. And I do that. Do some self-care. That's all it takes to get yourself back on track. You just have to make sure that you put yourself first. You know what I mean? You can't do this day in and out. You've got to, I don't know what it is with the salt. I don't know if because it draws stuff out of you or the whole thing with the salt, but I know it works. So Epsom salt baths and stuff are awesome. Saging. Those techniques, the reason why you see so many psychics and people with abilities use them is because they really do work. Reiki masters, Reiki energy healers, I swear by them. They'll take off that unseen ick that you get on you, because I think it's just like when you go to a bar and you feel the ick in a room, a fight's going to break out. It's the same thing. It's the same type of energy. You can Calgon, wash it away. That's the simplest way I can describe it.
Salt's also grounding too. Because it comes from the earth, so you're able to use it. I just sit some in my hands, and I use it to ground.
For some reason, I love being outside in the mountains, things like that. So I'll go, what works for me is I'll go take my shoes off, and I will go stand in the front yard and just let the ground, and I don't know what it does, but that's my calming stuff. So I let the energy absorb it for the ground. If there's something in your house that like that, and it's still there, I would have people come in and investigate it. I wouldn't let them try to chase it out. I would try to gather as much information as you can, and then a couple times, and then see what you can find out. Because like I said, at Marie Laveau's, it took us 5 days to figure out exactly what really was going on there. And so sometimes it takes a little bit to figure out what's going on. And I don't know, I've never had a case where I had one case, and it was our own house on Elm Street in Buffalo. We ended up selling our house and leaving because there was so much water under the house, and there was a cavalry barracks, across the way. And there was so much energy going through there because of the water ley lines, the water table, that I could not rest, and I was always tired, and spirits would come in and they'd get right in my face. And that's the only time where I felt like I had to leave the house or sell the house for my own peace of mind. But
I had 2 NDEs, one dark, one haven't, but brought back some dark experience, some abilities, but hid my experience for 40 years.
Wow.
One heaven experience. Wow. That's pretty. I just got chills on that one.
Yeah.
Hey, Donna. She blew my mind. We talked for a little bit. I haven't officially got to meet her, but she's pretty cool. We never quite got to talk very long, but yeah.
She did those crime podcasts and stuff, and she gets a lot of stuff. I know someone that uses it as a boost.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, people use cinnamon and different things like that.
Right.
Or things. Yeah. Grounding works for different people different ways. So, and I don't understand it because it's out of my wheelhouse, because sometimes they go with like Pisces and your Capricorn, Earth sign, and I don't understand all that. I'm not going to lie. I've never done any studying it, but based on where you fit, some people, that's why the ocean seems to be calming versus why, being in mountains, you got to find your peace of mind where you feel the best. Go there to regroup, because once you're in a good place, then it gives you more energy to be able to deal with the crap that's in there. It's the yin and yang of everything. I can't tell you I know how it works, but yeah.
Yeah, mine be in the middle of the nobody around.
Yeah. You see my size. I use chocolate a lot too, Donna.
It's funny.
For sure.
So, Scott's got a couple of pieces of equipment here that kind of show you what we make. I don't know if
So,
you
guys know Shane Pittman. Shane Pittman and Josh Purvis, they have the searchers. So we make equipment for them.
Yeah.
So everything that we have on like our normal Horn Paranormal page that you can purchase, they have their searchers version, which we make for them. But we also make this. We just started making this for them. This is a here. So that's a 360. It's a 360 motion detector it's got the music box electronics in it. So that UFO sound was made by Josh Purvis.
Yeah, that was his sound bite.
So it's a custom sound. These are only available on their website. So we're partnered up with them. So on there we also have. So this is our bread and butter. This is our SLS. Got our logo on there.
Their little hand.
Yep.
Nice.
What's cool about these is he's got these down to under 2 pounds. That's what I was telling you about carrying them around.
So
they get heavy.
I'm going to say this because I got all the proof to back it up, and it still chaps me. But so if you go to the 2 big, not Ghost Stop, but the other 2 paranormal equipment stores online, you will see an SLS that looks almost identical to this. Mm-hmm. Is because he had his wife order one of mine, and within a month and a half, there was one out at both stores exactly like this one. Yeah. So,
no.
It makes me mad, but at the same time, I'm flattered. Plus, mine's $150 cheaper.
Well,
yeah.
So,
in a case.
Yep, comes with a case, transport case, and everything.
Me too, Charles.
I love trees. I'm telling you, I feel the vibrations. I love trees. So
me too.
Case.
Yep. And then
it's Horn Paranormal.
Yep. HornParanormal.com.
That's where you can order, or Facebook at Who's Afraid of the Dark, or Horn Paranormal Research.
So this is an XLS.
Single hand logo.
Yep, our same logo.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
It is bigger. It's about twice the weight just because of the different tech, the sensor and the tablet, because you use the 64-bit tablet, but it's got a.
But you put that on a tripod and just let it run while you're running a camera. Then you don't have to worry
Right.
about it.
Or we use a monopod too.
Yeah, to set it down.
Set it down, takes the weight off of it. But this is the only one like this compact out on the market right now. And these can be found. And like I said, the searchers have their own model of this as well. It's purple and black. So
we are working on a couple of new designs, but
yeah,
That's
we
really
actually right now we are going to be moving. We're listing our house for
Yeah.
sale here in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to be
wow.
moving actually about
The
moving
weather.
south.
Oh,
We are going
wow.
to move down. Yep, we're going to move down to like northwestern Nevada,
yeah.
Mesquite area. So
Oh,
we're still going to be doing stuff, but we kind of cut it off.
Paranormal? Right. From Paranormal?
Yep. See, like our shirts.
Yep, Horn
I don't know if you can see
Paranormal
it. Horn Paranormal.
Research. If you're on Facebook,
Yeah.
you'll see that light up hand
Yeah.
as our picture. So we're going to be trying to build equipment
Yeah.
in the interim till we get settled.
We'll still be doing stuff for searchers, so you can go on their website to get their version. But the original stuff that we do, the red or any custom colors, it would have to wait until after we get settled back in.
Right, we're kind of putting
3D printers and stuff.
we got to get everything packed up and storage, house staged, all that stuff. So, and I got like a lot of 3D printers, so we got to clean that up a little bit. But we've got the business. We're not folding by any means. We're just we got to get settled up before we ramp back up totally. But
so the cutoff date to order in is December 1st for anything. So if you got any Christmas wishes, that's what it. And we try to work with everybody. We're easy to reach, messaging and things like that. Scott's really good about getting back with people if they have questions. And
yep, I don't work.
We're not
so I have my phone handy.
Yeah.
So I'm usually pretty quick on messages and things like that. So
we did have somebody tell us at this last Paracon that we needed to add, hey Linda, a shut-off switch to the noisemaker part, so it just lights up. And so I think that's one of the things we're going to do. Is like on our
Oh, that'd be cool.
If we're crazy. Let's say you have it close by and you're doing some kind of other ITC device, and you don't want to go on you, but you want to know that they're standing there like a motion without the sound. So I think that's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got about 3 or 4 different things I'm going to be working on. So hopefully by maybe February, if we get back up and running quick, I'll have a couple more things to debut or some more products out there. So it's just fun to make stuff. You got to keep it interesting.
That's right.
Yeah, because there's so much out there now. Like I got lost on YouTube today trying to look up like how to make a portal box, a portal.
Yeah.
I was like, it was just like a big rabbit hole. I was like, oh my God.
You said, never mind.
Right.
Yeah, when you start looking at the equipment, almost all of it, it's either
same tech.
Yeah, it's almost the same tech. There's just a variation. It's all based off environmental factors, you got electromagnetic frequency, temperature, your what else did I want to say?
I can't think of the
your
name,
audio and your video stuff.
But if anybody's into really cool dowsing rods, I can't think of who makes them, but there's a company out of Ohio, and they're on Facebook, but they're the lit up. I have a set of those.
I think it's NC North.
Those are pretty cool.
Paranormal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, but they light up in the dark, and so they're pretty cool when you're using.
That's a neat idea.
Wow. They're still
pretty cool.
Yeah. But
he also makes the tripwire too. I believe.
There you go. What about your generation?
I don't know.
There's
I
a lot
know-
of people doing stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess was that similar to like an EM pump, or
No, the
you're
frequency
talking
generator.
different frequencies?
Isn't that just like your spirit boxes, or all on off your frequencies? Yeah, there's different ways. There's different. I mean, besides the AM FM bands, there's a few people out there that make some really good ones. That who is it that Shane uses all the time? Do you remember his name?
For the burst,
Well, no, not the microburst, but what he's talking about, the frequency.
Bill Chappell?
No, we love Bill because he is so smart.
Well,
He's so intelligent. But the problem with his stuff, most of us can't afford it. I started doing
Right.
this. Okay, we're turning off Wi-Fi. Gotcha.
yeah, we met Bill Chappell here this year at the Palmer House, and I mean, he's a really nice guy. And it's funny that he doesn't really believe in the paranormal.
Yeah.
He makes this equipment, that
Wow.
It's
Really?
it's
Wow.
just, it just kind of shocked me a little bit when he said
but
that.
I see where his points are because he has contracts with NASA and things like that. So one of the things he's working on has to do with sound frequencies, like what Johnny's kind of curious about, where he has this gadget that he makes where he can say something here and it sounds like it's being said across the room. So when you're getting voice phenomena, that's what he's saying is, how do you know you're not picking up something bouncing?
So he's trying to find
Right.
scientific
Quick ways to debunk stuff,
right
which is great, because when he can't at some point, because there'll be both sides, then that's when we'll come together. You know what I mean? I'm saying, okay,
Right.
fine, that's coming from this, but there's no reason why this should be in here. And that has happened a few times as we have used equipment where we've hit that point, which has helped us as
Right.
who we are. But that's what kind of tech he's working on right now has to do with the sound waves. And I'm kind of curious because he sold all his stuff to Ghost Stop. So ovuluses, things like that, you have to go through Ghost Stop to get it. But he sold them the tech. They're building him exactly the way he had them built, and they just can't keep up. So if you ever want the true original stuff, Ghost Stop is who carries that. So,
Wow.
and they're the only ones I would recommend, other than like the Tripwire and some of these individuals who are out here. Some of them got great ideas, but the two people that stole stuff, that's not right. That's not fair to the rest of the public. I mean,
That's right.
the reason we do equipment is so that we can fund going to these Paracons and supporting other people who do this. We're not doing it for fame. It's to help us have money to go give money to other people so that they can continue on with what they're doing. We're not trying to profit.
Right.
And so
Right.
it's frustrating that in the business, there's people like that out there. It's just frustrating me.
I mean, I get it. The tech, I don't own the tech. I don't, it's Connect stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody can get their hands on it. It's just the fact that he took my housing almost identical to what I made and I worked on for almost 6 months.
We kept our mouth shut and never said anything against
and then
him either.
Within that quick, he bought one, and that's basically what I reached out to the owner of the website, and he goes, "Well, you got paid for it, right?"
She created a
and so that kind of irritated me that
Facebook page.
I got paid for it, so it was okay to just copy it almost identical,
Right.
But, I mean, there's no law against it. It's just kind of.
So when you go on our Facebook now or on our website, you'll see that you're not allowed to copy
it's
whatever, because we needed to have some kind of statement. Because with copyright laws, even though you got a patent pending, that patent doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything.
It's actually a patent, and it takes years. So we didn't.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have it.
That's a shame. Well, karma's a bitch,
So
right?
That's right. Absolutely, Deb.
Yep.
I mean, overall, the paranormal stuff has been really wonderful. We have met so many good people. I can't tell you how many awesome people are out there. And so it's just sad that you only hear about the bad ones, because when we go to these events, I swear we meet at least a half a dozen new friends that are going to be lifelong friends that are really good people. That are, I mean, so
that's right.
People just need to remember that. Yeah, water seeks its own level. Is what I always say.
That's right.
So
good outweighs bad.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all good questions tonight. Thank you. It was a good night.
Well, we enjoyed having you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
We'll have to do it again.
I like going on and watching you cook.
Okay.
You'll have to come cook with us sometime.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, but yours looks so tasty. I do sometimes watching.
Do what? I'm sorry.
Kimmy?
No, I was just going to say, so before we, like, any advice for my first official investigation coming up next month?
Oh, you haven't investigated yet. Go in with an open mind.
Friend's house, and I cleansed her house for her. But
you've done a lot of live investigations or online investigations, but not closer personal ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to have fun
enjoy it.
Yep.
Keep an open mind. Yeah. Go in with an open mind. Enjoy it. If you don't think you caught anything and you're disappointed, go back and review the evidence. Half the times when you think it's boring and you go back and you catch something and you didn't know it, and then it gets y'all excited again. So there's a lot of times where it's been dead quiet, like we didn't catch nothing.
And the equipment side of me is like always have video and audio going at all times.
We like to have 2 or 3 different gadgets to validate and back up. So that's just because there's always people in there like, no, I heard your ice machine going off. Well, we had this over here. Why didn't it catch the ice machine? It was sitting right next to, we had at the Fairmont, we had all these cameras. All the cameras started messing up, but a couple, and one camera out of all of it we had the spirit box going that, that was brought in.
Hey, Johnny.
Great questions. Thank you. We had the stuff brought in. The spirit box was going off, and the guy that was in there was a skeptic. He goes, "That's just radio, goddamn radio waves," is what he said. And one of the cameras over here, not the one facing him, out of it, told him to shut the F up. So one camera caught it out of all the cameras.
Yeah, we had a camera that halfway between him. The other camera, we had a static camera and then a night vision camera, and then he was in front of the night vision. And the farthest camera behind him is the one that caught them.
And having the other cameras, we were able to validate, and it was electronic voice, that was an actual catch, because we had other stuff to go back and check the time on and make sure nobody was talking. So it just makes it easier. And it sucks, and you have to go back through so much evidence.
Yeah, that's the downfall. The more cameras the more hours.
But just have fun. I think you're going to enjoy it. Is it known to be haunted, Kimmy? Does it have anything going on there?
History, but I did look at like the haunted stuff that's going on there, and it's full body apparitions and EVPs tend to be the biggest part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything there that you can use as a trigger object? Do you have anything that might bring them forward for you that seem to have worked in the past? Trigger objects are great to meet people.
I'm not sure it's a big house, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right.
Really, I don't know.
So what I like to do in old houses, I like to take out, but you can't, when you run your phone, it'll set REM pods off and stuff like that. So you got to put it in airplane mode when you're running other devices. But when you have it, I like to take it out, and I like to actually play that Victorian, whatever music of the era through YouTube. Sometimes that gets them going. And for some reason, lighting up and talking jokes and just being light will bring them out too. Just like going in, not serious, but just lighthearted will bring spirit out. It's interesting.
Okay.
So, because they're curious.
Right.
So.
Cool. Okay. I'm excited.
You'll have to tell us about it. I'm right here.
I know. Y'all probably like, she just freaked out with what we said was behind her chair. How's she gonna handle a house?
You crazy. You'll do great.
The first time Scott heard an EVP, we were sitting. First time we caught an actual EVP, we're sitting in bed. And it was midnight, and we heard this little girl come through and just help like that. We both jumped out of the bed. We were so freaked out. We had this little voice come through that said help.
Yeah, I was.
But then you get jaded,
No, I'm
just
hoping-
like when you see your kids fall off the playground.
Right. I'm hoping
About 10
something's
times
gonna
later.
reach out and touch her. That would be the ultimate.
Hey,
I'm
woman,
sorry, Kimmy. I'm sorry, Kimmy. I just can't wait.
And video it, because we like to laugh at stuff like
Yes.
that. Not at you, but we've been there. So we're like, well, we know that feeling.
Y'all gonna gang up on me online. Y'all gonna be like, yo, tug her hair, pull her hair, pull her hair.
It's your
You know how
butt.
y'all-
That happens a lot on investigations. Women's butts get pinched a lot. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it is happening to my friends. It's happened to
No,
me.
now she put that thought in your head. So
You'll be
That's
swatting.
true.
Leave me alone.
I'll be like, nobody share this to Kim Horn, please. Nobody share it.
It's gonna
Hey,
be
Reggie.
hey,
fun.
Reggie.
I need to talk to Reggie.
Ooh,
Love and light,
Reggie's
guys.
in
You too.
trouble.
What'd you do now, Reggie?
I need some
Reggie.
advice from him, actually.
Oh,
Something
okay.
out of my wheelhouse. If this is what I love about the community, because I'm going to reach out to him with some questions of something
right.
that I've never had happen that I think that he can give me enlightenment for. So, that's
That's
what
right.
it's all about.
She's coming for you, Reggie.
That's right. He probably already knows it, though. He probably like, oh yeah, they already told me.
Yeah. Come in
So.
fear.
Yeah. Yeah. So, goodness. There was a lot of good questions tonight. I wasn't expecting to have to, but I'm glad because I kind of like to have people know my story so they understand that the
That's
whole,
right.
you growing up. That's my biggest thing is these young kids who have this stuff and they're so quiet and I always feel so bad wishing that there was more people that could be more open-minded to help younger people deal with their stuff,
Right.
you know, because it's so common. It's really common.
Well, that would be a
So-
good calling for you, maybe, to reach out
Yeah,
to
there's
the
a
young.
few people out there. Yeah, if I'm put in that position, I would definitely be happy to do it. But
Right. Since
thing
you've
is,
been through it, you would know how to help
it's-
them.
yeah, like a mentor type thing. But I try to be careful because I'm not licensed therapist or any of that stuff. So yeah.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Shane Foster, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oksana. Yeah, that was. It's been a while, I think, when they did that, but
Yeah.
I remember them talking about it. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
that
on
is
there with
neat.
them.
Yeah,
I'll be
we
there.
love Shane and Josh.
So. That's the Victorian I was talking about, by the way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. That's very cool. That is really
Ignominic
cool.
Explorers. With
cool beans.
Angela Johnston.
Do you guys ever go to any of? Do you guys ever go to any like events that come out in your area? Do you guys ever go to any of those?
I haven't
Like
been able
paranormal
to. No.
events?
Yeah, we
Well,
don't have it here. I haven't seen any going for all anyway.
They're pretty interesting.
I've been in a little
Right,
small town
right.
in South Carolina, and there's
It's a
not
good
a whole lot
opportunity.
going on.
Okay. Okay. Well, why I ask is because it's a great way to meet other people. Like we went out to the Hey Good Meal one, and Kim Moran, she ended up buying equipment from us, and now we're kind of lifelong friends because
Yeah, she
she's
came out
down
to
there
Deadwood,
super,
too.
super. You meet people like-minded, and it's just a really neat place if you ever get a chance to just go check one out, it's got all kinds of stuff there, and it you just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of our thing. We don't go to very many of them, but we like to go and investigate on our own separately, but then we also like to go support. It's not the same if you're learning to investigate. It's not the same but you get to investigate with people who've been doing it in the field forever. So that's kind of neat because you can learn some of their techniques. You get to see how they investigate, and you get it from that point. I mean, there's a lot of contamination because there's so many people and they have their own opinion, and you can't, and they that's the bad thing, but there's so much more good into going to them because you get that one-on-one time to talk to the people in the field that have been doing it forever and get to see what they do and that kind of stuff. And the best part is the people that go on those investigations. You make some great contacts, lifelong friends. Yeah. So I always encourage that, and it helps keep the name, because what you see on TV is entertainment, and what we're all doing is separate, and it lets people see that there is a fine line and there is a difference. Yeah,
that's true.
So,
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. If you guys ever do one, just let us know. We'll try to make it out there. I don't know. We have so many bucket list places to go to.
That would be fun.
No, it's not.
I just started Paracon myself.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right.
We'll just do it ourselves.
Yeah, good stories, good friends. It's neat because they bring in authors, they bring in artists, they bring in all kinds of different collective personalities. So got a little of everything. So let's say you make mojo bags. Hey, that's a place to take them.
That's right.
Get your own stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Because everybody's curious. Cool. Everybody's curious, like your Native American background. Everybody wants to know what drove people to where they were. And it's, I don't know, I just think it's interesting.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Especially with backgrounds in your ancestry and your bloodline has a lot to do with stuff that you may or may not get at a place,
Definitely.
Yeah. I think
sorry, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to cut out of here too.
Yeah, we're fisting it. But well, thank y'all again for coming on this. We really appreciated it.
It's been a good time, Kimmy. Appreciate it.
Fun. Hope y'all had fun.
A little while since we've been on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been kind of busy, and we just been getting back for stuff, so we haven't done any.
So, it's learning from people,
Right.
So.
Right. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
So
thank y'all for hopping on.
I guess if anybody, thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody's curious,
if anybody's got any questions about anything, message us.
Yeah, we're open books.
Yep.
Donna, so are you. Have a good night, and reach out if you need anything.
Thanks again, y'all. We enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kimmy. Have a good night, everybody. Definitely, Donna, I want to.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.